Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm Gat, your host. The viewer on the left requested a twin flames natal chart analysis, a natal charts analysis, as well as compatibility. So the first thing I noticed was to make sure if there were any stelliums. A stellium is 4 planets or more in one house. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case, but we'll talk about that if it is the case. If it's not the case, we won't talk about it. But their first house is going to be where that EP is, the East Point. East Point is where the sun went over the ecliptic when they were born. And this is in the first house being Aries, but this is going to be a intense house. Because Mars used to rule Scorpio, but now Mars rules Aries, and Aries is the ruler of the house. And you have Mars, Aries, Scorpio already. So you already know it's going to be very intense. And it's going to be with Uranus. Anything could happen. But with this person, they may be really, they'll be good with healing. They may try alternative healings, alternative medicines, but with Uranus and Scorpio, it's usually a lot of alternative things. But it's also a lot of energy. And Uranus tends to like to shock. So things can change or just come out of nowhere because of the Scorpio Uranus energy. But even like I said, you're still dealing with a, metaphysically speaking, you have to be very careful of electrical shocks and things of that nature because of this placement. And also, with Mercury, very creative person, thoughtful person. But again, a lot of things they deal with is going to be primarily Mercury issues. And when you're dealing with Mercury issues, you're dealing with other people's money, shared resources, but it could be power struggles as well. Anything that's supernatural or unknown. Also, it's always going to be a lot about power, death, and rebirth. Sexual transforming. Scorpio can be somewhat distrustful until they get to know you, but they may be very suspicious. But again, they're self-healing, very psychic, and they can know things that they shouldn't know, but that's because of psychic abilities. So again, this house has 3 planets, not 4. But a principle just that you have to be careful, because whenever you have planets like that, you're gonna be responding to those planets. And remember, these planets transit all over the charts. So we don't want a person to be obsessed with always studying charts, because you do have to get on with your life. But you do have to be aware whenever you have 3 planets or powerful planets and more than one planet, you can be affected by those planets. So that's something to really try to become aware of, so that you're not just responding or reacting because of what's going on in the universe. But that's how it can happen with this power. Now, we should go clockwise, but I want to go counterclockwise since you have so much air activity on the left side of your chart. Now, the second house is ruled by Taurus and deals with your possessions, your finances, and your value system. What we see right away by Sagittarius, which rules the 9th house, that your finances and value system may have something to do with long distance matters or foreign matters. But the 9th house ruled by Sagittarius is a house full of class, culture, higher laws, in-laws, philosophy, religion. Sagittarius could be a teacher, philosophy, publishing, and the ninth house is your higher self house. Also, it's the Centaur or Sagittarius. Sagittarius can be very sociable, a good listener, a good friend, and again, somewhat of a healer. So this person, again, with the Scorpio and now Sagittarius, could be somewhat of a healer. And they can also be very telepathic, because Neptune and Sagittarius can be very telepathic, and Scorpio can be very psychic as well. So again, this could be a very creative person because of these areas that we're bringing out. Have to be very careful of deception because of Neptune. Neptune can be very idealistic, but the world is usually the world is not idealistic. The world is realistic. So sometimes Neptune can get a person into trouble because they go in with an idealistic viewpoint and the world's just not idealistic. But this person, because of these reasons, they may also find themselves contributing their money or having something to do with their money in foreign concerns or foreign areas or long distance areas. But again, because of Neptune, you have to be very careful because there's a chance you could get ripped off. Somebody might call you and ask you to invest somewhere foreign, and you do, and then you find out you were the seed. And again, this is your money house, but Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So if Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Jupiter does deal with money as well. So this may be a good house for good fortune. Next house is the third house. And again, that could be communications, short distance travel. Your third house is your very creative house as well. Your siblings, the environment around you, the brotherhood, younger, education. But with Capricorn here, Capricorn rules the 10th house. So your third house is connected to your 10th house. And Capricorn deals with career and your reputation. It can also deal with karma. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Going to your fourth house, whenever you see Aquarius in the fourth house, this is people who, remember, planet Uranus rules Aquarius. So your first house is going to have a connection to your fourth house. But again, these are people that make friends, association, and groups out of other people. They may even call other people family. But this may not have been what you would call a traditional family house, family upbringing. And the fourth house is ruled by Cancer. Again, the third house is ruled by Gemini. Now we go to the fifth house, Pisces in the fifth house. And again, because Pisces is there, you have to be careful. Because this is the fifth house supposed to be about the fifth house is supposed to be about fun, travel, just having a good time. Could be about sports, young ones, taking risks. Because the fifth house is very creative also, and it's ruled by Leo. But Pisces in the fifth house, again, this person may have somewhat of an unrealistic viewpoint about love because of Neptune's deception, and Pisces tends to sacrifice. But in reality, in order for a relationship really to be beneficial, it should be both people give and take. But a lot of times it's not, and that could wear down after a while on the relationship. And Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Therefore, your fifth house and your second house had that connection. Whenever you see Neptune, Leo, Sagittarius, you could be dealing, like I said, with a highly person that's connected not only to the world around them, but believe it or not, the universe as well. And this is going to be a very creative person. And again, you want to know that because you could concentrate on your creativity. Because what we do, we just make the mistake. Nothing's wrong with being in a relationship, but you want it to make sure it works for you too. Because oh, I just don't want to be lonely, and then you're just like serve a person. Like me, I'm just a nice person, and I'm really not with all that drama. But see, people can mistake the niceness for weakness. There's nothing weak about me whatsoever. But unfortunately, people might make that mistake. And I don't like. I'm at the point now in my life. I don't need to be talking about stuff I don't need to be talking about. You know, I've outgrown a lot of stuff, so I'm not really into a lot of stuff that other people might be into. Some people like to just talk, and blah 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 blah. So I'm with all that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's your 6th down. The 7th house, a big no-no, because you got Aries there. Aries is I am. See, you're explosive. See, your first house and your 7th house, it wants to bring it to you. They want to bring it to you. So in a relationship, don't nobody like, unless you get somebody that likes that kind of stuff, but nobody wants I am in a relationship because they're going to get sick of it. Like sometimes you might meet a person who will put up with you, depending on for whatever reason. But after a while, if they grow some pants, they're going to get sick of somebody telling them, you know, bullying all the time. Because that's what, this is supposed to be we. The 7th house is supposed to be we. But I am is saying I am. And when you say, well, where's Aries at on her chart? Well, the 1st house. And look who's there, Scorpio. So that's definitely going to be aggressive power struggle. You can't get past it. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. This is why you really want to know your astrology and know your charts. Is because you also have to be aware of where Mercury is and where Uranus is and where Mars is, you know, on a daily transit, because that's going to affect you too. But like I said, you don't want to get obsessed with it, but you do want to be aware of it, because otherwise you can get set on a course and don't realize you're reacting a certain way because of what's going on above you. And you may think you're 100% right, but you could be 100% wrong. And then once those placements change above you, you'll be like, wow, I just lost my best friend, or I lost a pretty good opportunity. So you got to be aware. And that's what they were saying about the stellium. When you have 4 or more planets in one house, they said it's definitely going to lead to obsession. And they said the best way to deal with it is go to the opposite house. So if you want to better control your 1st house with all that power in it, they say try to go into the house opposite it. Now normally the house opposite your 1st house is your 7th house. But in this case, let's just count it to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it is. So let's go back. So your Aries is not in your 7th house. Your Aries is in your 6th house, which is the home, but it's going to connect to your 4th house as well. So your 6th house is ruled by Virgo. That's all about healing, service, even like homeland security, home service, young ones, animals, daily activities, daily duties, subordinates, and co-workers. But still, basically, it's still going to be aggression. So even though it's not the relationship sector, it's the home sector. But still, when you're in a relationship, you got to be very careful. So now, to better balance out your 1st house of all that aggression with Scorpio, power struggles, and Mars, aggression, and Uranus popping out of nowhere, you can go opposite it into your 7th house, which is Taurus, a very unique 7th house. You have Pallas right there at 0 degrees. Now, usually Pallas just helps a person see things better, see patterns better, but Pallas can also be social if it's retrograde. But I tend to say it's social whether it's retrograde or not. Helps you deal with social issues that are care about the people around you. And then you have some problem there with healing, because your Chiron, which means healing, the wounded healer, is retrograde. So you have some past life or past healing in this house that hasn't healed yet. And then you have the number 17 right there, which could be karmic related. And then you have your vertex at 27 degrees, and it's going to be with Taurus energy. And you see his ascendant is a Taurus. And also his EP is at 29 Yeah, that's interesting. 29 degrees, but we want to make sure we know where his EP is, which house. All right, so let me just look around. All right, so his EP, yeah. I'm just verifying and making sure. So his EP is in his first house. So that is his ascendant. Because your vertex. But see, sometimes when you see like 27 degrees, see, your vertex cross in your seventh house is 27 degrees, and that could be later. Because I know you were saying it's been a while since you talked, and sometimes it could be later. Because I work with my soulmate, but because of the way things are, there's no way me and her will be hooking up now. But because of I'm always doing readings, and I deal with experts, I deal with the best in the world, and everybody points her out as the one. But that wouldn't be happening in no time soon because of the way it is. And plus everything is just messed up. Like I've been out on sick leave for a while. I haven't even seen her, and then even when I do, it's a whole lot going on. So that's why I said if that did happen, it wouldn't be happening no time soon. So that's how these things work sometimes. Oh yeah, also you'll be getting a free report. Now, some of those videos that I put on that free report are now missing. So I don't know what happened with that. I just noticed that last night. But still, the main video, like I saw 3 of them missing. The main video you need for twin flames is called Stages of Twin Flames Relationship. Just go right to YouTube, type it right in the YouTube engine, and a lot of videos come up. But I'm especially talking about DNA activation. That is the name of the YouTube channel, DNA activation. But there's other videos on twin flame relationship because a lot of people don't even understand what a twin flame relationship is, and then they're wondering why you guys aren't talking or in separation and all that. So you got to really get a better understanding. That's why I tell people I know out here on YouTube they make it so easy for bubblegum astrology. Everybody wants to talk, everybody wants to have a comment, and blah blah blah. But the fact of the matter is, usually if you don't understand it, you won't get a better grip on it. Sometimes talking might help. Sometimes sharing your pain might help, or sharing your experience might help. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes you just have to know this is twin flames relationships, and this is how they work. You'll meet each other. You'll have this great feeling. You'll have great eye contact. You might jump in bed and have great sex, and then all of a sudden you're in separation, and now nobody's talking to each other, and one or more are not talking and don't want to talk, or some crazy stuff. And you're like, how do we go from having such great connection to being horrible? And twin flame. And see, for me, I've been here for a while, so I've been seeing this kind of stuff for years. It's just that we didn't call it twin flame back then, and now all of a sudden we're calling it twin flame and all this other stuff, soulmates and all that. But I've always seen stuff like that, so I kind of was ready when mine came, when my situation came. I didn't know nothing about metaphysics that much. I didn't know much about a twin flames. I didn't know anything of twin flames when my twin flame came. But I did know this seems a lot like stuff I've been through before. And I kind of sensed that I wasn't gonna, it wasn't gonna go over like, oh, boy meets girl, everything's gonna work out. It was gonna be some more BS, and it was. But I do believe that once you get your head on straight, if you might already have it on straight, but you can have a happy relationship with somebody. It may or may not be your soulmate or your twin, but you can. So you can't just fall into depression, because the reason why you're falling into depression is because you're looking at this situation like it's your situation. Oh, why isn't it working? Why isn't this? But it may not work no matter what you do. You say, well, why do we meet and all that? Because there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in this universe that we still don't know why. So there was a reason why you met, reason all that, but it's not necessarily meant to be together. Because I know for a fact it could not possibly work between me and mine. And for me, it's never just going to be about sex, because that's one thing I learned about all this stuff. It's always easy to meet somebody, jump in bed and have sex, but then to have some type of growing relationship, that seldom happens, once in a while. So that's why I study a lot of stuff. I don't just look at everything from a metaphysical viewpoint. I look at it from a spiritual viewpoint. And why is it so easy why is it so easy to do the don'ts? That's easy to do the don'ts, but anything that matters, all of a sudden now it's a problem. So I question everything now. So in your vertex, so it's a Taurus. So somebody with a Taurus sign or a Libra sign is going to have a connection to you. And as you see, his Libra sign is where his vertex is. So you're already seeing this is already either a soulmate relationship or a twin soul. Your twin soul is your twin flame. Same soul, different bodies. But your soulmate can also be anybody from your soul tribe or soul family. But you two probably have some type of connection together or some type of karmic relation together. So right now, we definitely know this is some type of soul connection by what I just said. The vertex. Her vertex is Taurus. His ascendant is Taurus. Her vertex means she's either going to be in vibe with somebody that's a Taurus or Libra, and his ascendant is Libra. So they're definitely kind of putting these two together. Now, Taurus is sensual, likes massages, affectionate. Her 7th house is also kind of like her 2nd house with Neptune and Sagittarius, which is pretty cool because Sagittarius means your higher self, and that your higher self is you and your twin coming back together to your higher self. So that could mean a good meaning. Might be also because of Sagittarius. It might be good fortune. It might be some travel going on there. Could also be talking to each other, you know, telepathically, dreaming about each other because Neptune. I know after this Gemini moon, I've been having a whole lot of like crazy stuff, crazy dreams, all kind of crazy stuff. All right, so now your 8th house is Gemini. Now, why did they put your Gemini in your 8th house? Because Gemini is like about slow travel, short stuff, very creative. So, like I said, you're a very creative person. So you might even want to get a career in that, or you might even want to have your own channel or some way helping people, you know, making some type of career out of it. But like if you saw Gemini in the 10th house, which is your career, we would notice as a person who has either a part-time job or part-time jobs, or they don't stay at jobs very long. So a lot of times the universe will take Gemini and put it in the 8th house because the 8th house is a very deep house, probably the deepest house on your chart, ruled by Scorpio, who's ruled by Pluto. But that helps Gemini hang around because generally speaking, Gemini, he's not trying to go deep, and he's not trying to put up with a whole bunch of crap. Like when you hear me, because my ascendant is Gemini, and you hear me, you just heard me say it. I'm not really with all that silly stuff. So he'll be ready to tap out quick. So they take Gemini and put him in the 8th house because he's got to learn emotions and feelings. And as an air sign, he'd be ready to fly away quick. So they put him in so he can learn emotions and go through stuff, and then he won't be so quick to want to tap out. Your 9th house, Curious, the nurturer is there. But your 9th house, you got the family there. So like I said, this is a family that travel. Because first you saw Aquarius in the family, the 4th house. And now you see family in the 9th house. So this is family. But this could also be long distance family. Because Sagittarius rules the 9th house. And because they have a connection through Sagittarius to the 2nd house, this might be a family that had to move or had to have long distance situations because of financial reasons. And again, it's also in-laws because Sagittarius represents the in-laws in the 9th house. Now we want to do your 10th house. That's all about your career. But in your career is your true north node, Vesta. That's interesting. So when you see, so your house, but in your career, your Leo makes you somewhat of a leader. Now we would say, well, but what's the career? Because this is where it gets interesting. See, Leo can be somebody having fun. It could be entertainment. It could be sports. But Leo also represents children or childlike ways. But Leo is bold, romantic. So this could be any type of career in those areas. But the investors there, right at your true north node, right at both of y'all at 18 degrees of that 666. Now, Vesta is fire, just like Leo. But Vesta can be the priestess, but she could be highly sexual, but not necessarily. But she's the priestess, a lot of energy, but you have to be careful. Wherever you see Vesta on your chart, you have to be careful because you can burn yourself out. Too much energy. So you got to know how to take breaks, take rest. But Vesta can mean isolation. Vesta can mean incarceration. Vesta can mean, it definitely means energy and fire. And believe it or not, she really is connected to your fireplace. Anywhere where there's fire around you or energy around you, she's connected to it. Your heater, she's really connected to it. But remember, Leo is also a fire sign. So it's going to be a very fiery person. Very fiery person. Got a lot of fire. Aries, fiery energy. A lot of fire. Mars rules Aries, so that's going to be fiery. So we want to look at that 18, because you got two 18 degrees. So we want to look at 18 degrees Leo. So just give me a moment. I'll pull that up and take a look at it. Give me a moment. All right. I believe it's 18 degrees Leo. Says unintelligent, stubborn, and boasting character. One behaves with arrogance and tends to meddle in other people's business, which brings about numerous enmities. If one is ready to work hard, animal husbandry and horse trade is profitable. Otherwise, life is most likely to be dull and precarious. If the natal chart indicates great intellectual capacities, the interpretation of this degree is brighter. One must refrain from attacking people who are stronger. So that's what they have for 18 degrees. But again, Vesta, see, because that is your, a lot of times when you see Vesta in the 10th house, it's opposing the Saturn energy, because Vesta doesn't like abuse. And see, his Leo, that Mars is right there. Even though the Mars is in Cancer, you just have to be careful. Because that's what I do. First thing I did, I said, well, where's his Leo at? And I noticed where his Leo is at, Mars ain't too far behind. So either that chart is correct, or Mars is really more close to the Leo than it is to Cancer. But I know for a fact, usually when you see Vesta in the 10th house, and your true north node is usually your like it could be your twin or your soulmate. And see, that's when I start to question stuff, because if we're sure of the time, then maybe it's not. But if we're not really sure of his time, like his moon and his Mars could be in Leo, or at least the Mars is. Because see, if you see Vesta pop up, you say, why is Vesta pop up, and why is she right at 18? Because she's kind of opposing any form of abuse, and like you don't always remember what happened in the past life, but sometimes we just know. Because I know when I met my twin flame, there was a yearning in her, but it was like a little girl. It was a little girl yearning in her to get to know me, but there was also a wicked side of her that wanted to really hurt me some type of way. And with me, I wanted nothing to do. Like from the moment I saw her, I was like totally not. I wanted really nothing to do with her. That's like a constant, and I've seen twin flames because I've done so many natal charts. I've seen twin flames that are like that. Like whatever happened, it's so powerful. They don't necessarily remember it from a past life, but they know they want nothing to do with that person. And I saw one area where the female was admitting that she was probably wicked in the past life, but she was trying to make up for it in this life. But he wanted nothing to do with her, nothing. And you could see it on his chart. Like he was like a nice guy until to that whole relationship. So she popped up, and you saw a totally different guy, full of running and full of anxiety. All right, that was one of the supervisors from my job. It's kind of cool because I'm like I don't sick leave. Long story, so I won't take up time on this video. I talk about that stuff on my other channel. All right, so now where are we? We're going back in. All right, so they said a lot of things about 18 degrees. Leo, I don't like that degrees. You know, I usually make that pretty clear, but I don't know people personally. It could be true, but I don't know for a fact. But I don't. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it's a little negative, and you know. So I don't know. I don't like to read that way. But what I will do is I want to look at angel number 18. Because when I see symmetrics like that, it's a reason. But I already told you there probably was some abuse or some bullying from the Leo energy. And Vesta will fight because Vesta hates bullies. So whenever I see Vesta in the 10th house, she's usually going up against Saturnian or Capricornian energy. And when I say that, even though it's Saturnian Capricornian, it's still Leo in that house. That house is ruled by Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And see, in his ninth house, which is Sagittarius, rules it. There's Capricorn right there. And then with Neptune. So both of these people can talk. See, one thing, even when you don't get along with your twin, you guys are still talking through dreams, telepathy, stuff like that. And like I've been doing this for a long time, so I can tell you it's really complicated. Because I have a soulmate. I mean, I think as far as soul connection, there hasn't been anybody on this planet I was more connected to than the Kenyan. And she's still popping up. And I literally haven't seen her in 20 years. She's still popping in my dreams even recently. Right after the Gemini moon, because her sun sign was Gemini. So she's still always popping up. So when you learn natal charts, you see a lot of funny stuff. Like sometimes I've seen a person's twin flame oversee everybody else they would be with, all on their natal chart. Like they oversee, and I could tell which one she didn't like. Like one was a Leo, she didn't care too much. No, let me change that. One was a Cancer. She didn't care too much about the Cancer. And he said, well, I'm not really interested in the Cancer. But the one he was really interested in was the soulmate, the Leo. I said, oh no, she hates her. You could tell. You could see it on the chart. So these things are there. So that's what I'm getting from this. It may have been some bullying in the past. And that's why Vesta is so protective. Right there to to defend against the true north, the Leo, which is her true north node. And that number 18 degrees is 666. Cause at my job, that was another guy. But see, he's not a bad guy. The guy that called me was checking in on me. He's not a bad guy. But I called today, and I guess somebody just didn't want to talk to me. So I knew they switched me over, and they just left me there. So I'm just sitting there, and I talked about that on my other channel. But this is the stuff you got to go through in life. From their viewpoint, you know, something happened to me, no fault of my own. But from their viewpoint, it looks like I'm faking it, but I'm not faking it. It's not even my personality. So I get teed off because I'm like, I get sick of getting accused of stuff I didn't do, and then they're getting teed off because they're like, well, you know, you should do this, you could do this. And I'm like, nah. I got sicknesses that you don't mess around with the feet because they can get amputated. You have to be very careful. Any type of injury to the feet, you have to be very careful. So it's one of those deals. But either way, it'll work itself out. God is good. So I'm just real interested in that 18. Otherwise, I will move on. But I just don't want to give it. I think if what that person said about 18 is true, then you would have to really work on that. But see, what I'm saying, some of that could be true if you're really into your Aries energy. And Leo can be somewhat of a bold. Leo can be, because they did say boasting. So that was kind of funny because, well, every time they say Leo, they say boasting anyway. Like, they make Leo out to be horrible. But really, like, Leo, not all Leos are bad, you know. I mean, I've been around for a while, so I probably grew out of a lot of that. But, you know, I'm not with all that boasting stuff. I'm not with all that, you know, thinking it's all about me. You know, almost every position I ever take is a servant position. But you can't let people run over top of you, though. But that's the catch-22. If you stand up for yourself, they're going to accuse you of being boisterous or arrogant. But no, you're just not going to let people run over top of you. So, we got to find out something about that 18. So just give me a moment. So like I said, just being honest with y'all, when I was younger, I sacrificed my whole youth. I was taking care of sick people. And I don't mind. I love doing it. In fact, that's when a Kenyan told me she fell in love with me, because it was a woman. I used to be a Jehovah's Witness, and I had met this old woman from Europe, and I would always visit her as a Jehovah's Witness. But then I wasn't a Jehovah's Witness no more, and I would still go see that old woman in it's Ocean Township, New Jersey. And I took the Kenyan with me one day. And the Kenyan was sitting there, and she's watching me listen to this old woman and stuff like that. And she's telling me all about 1917 in Europe, and they fled Europe and came because of the World War and stuff. And I'm listening and listening. And so one day the Kenyan tells me, she says, that's the day I fell in love with you. She said, when you said that, you sat there and listened to that whole lady talk about. She said nobody else would sit there and listen to her old. But no, me and that old lady were like, we were friends and everything. So now I'm older, you know, and it's like, so I see life like, well, when I was younger, I had no problem doing it. I don't know why it's a big deal that somebody's got to do something for me. That's how I feel. But people can be, everybody's different, but people can be so a-hole-ish. And I'm so real. Like, I'll tell you, I really think you're acting like an a-hole. But I'll get myself in trouble doing that, you know. And it's like they won't say anything about that person, but they'll darn sure say something to me. So sometimes I got to bite my tongue, although I don't like to. But sometimes you got no choice. All right, so I'm just real interested in this number 18, only because of Vesta's presence at the North Node. And they'll give you a definition, I'm sure, if I go Vesta conjunct North Node. Give me one moment. Vesta conjunct the North Node, and this is Dr. Baravee. You can see her on YouTube as well. She has a channel because she tells you a lot too. A lot of people are talking about Vesta conjunct the South Node, but Dr. Baravee is talking about Vesta conjunct the North Node. Let's hope she sticks with it, because I really want to. I'm just looking around. But okay, I said now, how come extra times? Because it's not South Node, it's your North Node. This is making me mad. Alright, now what just happened? Yeah, she changed it. Because it does say Vesta conjunct North Node, but then she goes into says the South Node. Alright, give me a second, because I don't like when I see stuff like that. Alright, find. Alright, what's this? What is this? Alright, now it says conjunct North Node. So it gave me a link to hit. I hit it. Please don't play games with me. They're really playing games. I feel like Riker in that Star Trek when he kept trying to get off the deck. And every time he tried to get off the deck, it kept going back to the deck and Riker lost his mind. So she ain't talking about it either. She wrote it, but she ain't talking about it. And she even had a link, but when you click the link, it takes you right back to the website you're already on. So what's the big mystery of Vesta conjunct the North Node? That really pisses me off. Because I'm an investigator and we get really pissed off when shit like that happens. Just watch Columbo and you'll find out I'm not lying. It's these loose ends. I know, sir. It's these loose ends. My boss, my chief, he doesn't like loose ends, sir. That's one more thing, sir. These loose ends. Alright, so you're already seeing it. That's special. Now, this is Linda Goodman, but she does threads. Now, you got to be careful with threads because you got to make sure you know who wrote that. Because anybody could be, they may not be qualified. So they're saying Vesta conjunct the North Node could be highly intense, highly sexual, and karmic. So I agree with all of that. I agree because whenever you see the number 18 on the natal chart, that's 666, but that actually means like ultimate love. And that's why I said when you really understand that your Bible is an astrological book, you'll understand certain things. But without understanding that book and realizing that people took that Bible over and flipped it to support their regime that's about to be taken out because they've been here long enough. But they kind of lied to you. So if you have ancestors that were the indigenous people, they stole your holy books and everything. They flipped it on you. So 666 was a beautiful thing, and because they hate you, and then they made you hate yourself. And that's why they don't want you doing astrology. And everything you see me doing is because that's what we did before they came. And it's not wrong. That's why they try to tell you that they found Jesus by a star. And through the star, they knew his life, what he would do. But that's called the natal chart. So now you got it. So the abuse part is still true. So don't take that out. because Vesta is there for that reason. Because sometimes an extreme, see, when you're dealing with all that energy, Uranus and Aries and Scorpio, sometimes it is. The sex is unbelievable, but then there's still a lot of violence between it. Unfortunately, one of my friends I went to school with, she was shot to death by her husband, who was a police officer right out here in this township. And because I know her for a fact. I remember when she was young, like when it came to sex, she is like unbelievable. She was like I don't know what, like a sex goddess, and she didn't play. And I think that was one of the reasons why he was so obsessed with her, because he got her, he had her, he had children with her. I'm sure the sex was unbelievable. They started having children. She started wanting to go her own way, and he was like, she's never leaving me. And then once she started to get away from him, she started doing one mistake that y'all should never do. She started talking trash. Like, I'm gonna get away from you. I'm gonna take all the money. You ain't gonna have no money when I'm done with you. So that way he went crazy, and he never apologized. Like, he's gonna be on death. He's gonna be on death row, and he better be glad that his daughters are not saying give him the death penalty. But they, as an officer, they loved him. He was a great police officer. That's why they wanted to kill him. They stood that. They had him surrounded, and they still let him fire. You know what I'm saying? They still let him kill his wife. Because typically speaking, when you say put the gun down, if a person doesn't put the gun down and he's crazy, you got to shoot him some type of way. But they respect. I don't mean to laugh, because that was my friend, but they respected him so much they wasn't going to shoot him, and that's like it was kind of sad. It was kind of sad that that he had lost his mind, but they really respected him, so they weren't going to kill him. They still calling him Sarge. Sarge, put the gun down. Sarge, you trained us. Sarge, and he just wouldn't listen. And he was trying to decide who he was going to kill, either himself or her. And then he just killed her, and then he couldn't. Of course, he didn't kill himself, and he's still alive, and he talks like he gives interviews, and he never apologized. He'll just go, what made me go crazy was this and that, but he never apologized. And I know a lot of police officers that are like that. There's a few of them though. That's why I said a lot, because this one guy killed about, he had like 3 wives. He killed every last one of them, and he was arrogant. Like, he was arrogant. He was trying to say, oh, she just left. She probably left with her lover. And they said, listen, she didn't just leave because she has children. She wouldn't just leave her children. And he was like, some of them will. Some of these women will. You never know what that's how he was arrogant. And they finally convicted him. I was like, glad. That was another guy. That was another officer. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is that's that whole Scorpio sex thing, power, frustration, sexual, on and on and on. I'm just looking at a few pictures of the president. The president's deceased. All right, now, so that's what I'm trying to tell you there. So that's enough information for me. I had a couple of things, loose ends, as Columbo would say, had to be tied up, and that's it. So this is a very passionate situation that might have went a little bit crazy. And it's a karmic relationship as well. That's why you're dealing with the 10th house of Saturn, which is karma, and Capricorn. Now your south node go right across. 10th house right up to the 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th house. That's your south node. Aquarius. That's your past life. Aquarius. And if you look at his Aquarius, look who's there. Saturn. A little bit of karma. Is that the 10th house? Yep. A little bit of Capricornian karma. All right, now we'll go right to the 11th house. 11th house ruled by Aquarius, and that's friends, association, groups. But now the 6th house, Virgo, is there, say ruler of the 6th house. So this is still going to be service. And you're also going to make money in this house with friends, association, and groups. With Jupiter's there blessing you. And I believe that's your moon sign too. Is it? Yep. So you may find a way to make money off of offering services to your friends and things like that. Um, the moon is always the feminine aspects, things that are hidden, secretive. Feelings, watery. Now, the one thing about your that you have to be careful of with the moon, Libra, and Scorpio, because they tend to see things a certain way, which can be called idealistic, but life is realistic. So you have to make sure that you're not trying to control everything, because people are not going to be exactly what you want them to be. And sometimes Libra will withdraw emotionally, but so will Virgo if they don't get what they want from the person. But that's not cool for a relationship. And also Scorpio can be very sneaky. Scorpio can be very strategic and manipulative. It's very, also where you see Pluto as well. And if you notice, your Pluto was right there with Libra. So now you got a Juno. Where's your Juno? Yep, your Juno's in your 12th house. See, your 12th house is about endings and secrets and the subconscious mind and the karma and things you have to reckon with or work on. Healing, if you're honest with yourself and get the help you need. Be honest about your subconscious mind and things, secrets that are you're hiding. This is all the 12th house. And so you have a Juno, which means a serious relationship with a Libra. And again, that's where his vertex cross is. And then so it could be a Pisces or a Libra. And his Pisces is his 11th house with Lilith. And that's your sun sign in Libra. So, like I said, Libra partners, but like I said, they could be idealistic. They also like social issues, and they serve too, because your 12th house is the house of service. It's ruled by Pisces, but you have to be careful because you don't want the people you're helping to burn you out. So the best way you can help anybody is to help them to teach them how to help themselves, so that they're not always expecting somebody else to do it, somebody else to get it. And your Lilith is in there too. Now your Lilith fits right in there. I don't see any auras, so she may be direct. But either way, this is also a repressive house, the 12th house. And Lilith can be repressive too. So you got to remember that when you're in a relationship, you almost want to be able to communicate. Now, I just did a Pluto in Libra. That's why I said this stuff happens. All these charts come to me like in batches because I just did a Pluto in Libra. And what happens is this person has got to learn how to transform by working with others, either business partner, somebody you're in a relationship with, or other people, or even a social group. But they've got to learn how to transform their lives and the world around them by working with people. Because a lot of times people can't do that. And they said it could be a lot of obsession too. They said whenever you see Pluto in Libra, it could be a lot of obsession, but you have to be careful because Libra is supposed to be about balancing things like that. But with Pluto in Libra, you could actually be self-defeating because it could be very obsessive. So this person may have to watch. The person on the left has to be very careful of obsessively or controlling or just going into a fantasy world and just thinking somebody should be this way when nobody's going to be perfect. And that is her sun sign, as well as her ascendant. So if somebody said, what's your rising sign? It's Libra. So that would describe you, but it's not your, but that's not your first house. Now, an astrologer may try to debunk what I just said, but it's not. Your first house is really Scorpio. Your ascendant is in your 12th house. And usually when your ascendant is in your 12th house is because you have some past life stuff that you still have to deal with. And we already know you got some Libra concerns. So your personality may be a little bit like Scorpio, a little bit like Libra. Only you would know. It might even switch. But if you wanted to be technically correct, your rising sign, your ascendant would be Libra. But what describes your personality to the world would be Scorpio. And as they said, and your first house really is Scorpio. Your ascendant is Libra in the 12th house. That's the correct way of saying that. And you got your Junos at 222, which is pretty cool. So let's do that part of fortune. That circle with the X in it, that's good fortune or part of fortune. Also, I usually say this, whenever you do natal charts, you do like the natal charts, you should be taking notes because there's so much information. And what happens is, because it was so much information, sometimes you start to space out and miss a few things, or it was so much and you don't know. But that's the best way to have it, so you have it. Because somebody will say, oh, well, did he say he's my twin? How is he my twin? And you that have said it, it's just that they weren't listening, or like for those reasons I just said, they kind of get it. And what people have to realize with me, because I get so many natal charts, that's why I try to be as thorough as I can be and give it to you and give you everything you need. And then that way you have it. And then if we need to go further, we can, no problem. But it's just good to do it that way. All right. So let's go good fortune in the 12th house. So they're giving you the opportunity to transform or dissolve your karma. And that's why Pluto's there. Because we already said you got a karmic relationship with this person. Definitely. And they said you also have medium mystic talents and the gift of prophecy. Because I told you you have psychic and medium mystic talents. So you might even be having like Raven, what Raven used to do. Whatever that was called. Premonitions and stuff. And they say your dreams often give you the answer, and that's why we always say you have a pen and paper for your dreams, or keep a pen and pad with you, because again, this is the kind of stuff you will want to reckon with, because that's what your 12th house is about. So this person will be into spirituality, mysticism, illusions, fantasy, but this person can also be productive in film, television, and works of fiction, because I told her you got that creative edge. So your enemies may frequently change their attitude about you from hostility to neutrality and sometimes to benevolence. And these are your enemies. So they say you're generally unaware of your good fortune, and you are usually treated well by healthcare professionals. So you'll be treated well by healthcare professionals. Good fortune with the sun. You could shine with your whole being in response to the solar illumination. But remember, you also got that fiery sign Leo in your 10th house because the sun rules Leo. Good fortune in Libra. Beauty, balance, fairness, justice. They say some Pluto and Libra do want some type of Libra relationships going on, or it might be some forms of compulsion going on. But they said, but some of them don't. Some of them they don't really want to be bothered with being that close to another person and stuff like that. So your 12th house is where a lot of thinking has to go on, digging deep, being honest with yourself. But you might say, well, why would they put the sun in the 12th house? So let's look at that. All right, this is myastrologybook.com. Let's just see what they say. One of my favorites, but let's see what they say. When a planet rises in the east, it can now be seen, and thus it enters the 12th house. Oh, so we have 4 water houses, 4th, 8th, and 12th. Excuse me, we have 3 water houses, 4th house Cancer, 8th house Scorpio, 12th house Pisces. And the 12th house is the last of the water houses. So the 12th house is showing what you brought over from the past lives to work on in this one. So allegedly, because there are Leo issues here. That's what we're trying to tell you. So Leo is ego ruled by the sun, and because you have Leo issues here, it's in the 12th house because you have to really focus on it. And that's what I've been telling you. But the trick is it both of you guys with Leo ego issues, or is it just him or just you? So in the 12th house, you have to learn how to transcend your own destructive or selfish or Leo-like patterns. And you can help do that by helping others. Like I told you with the 12th house, it's all about karma, and they said you can dissolve your karma. So again, you don't want to be Aries in Libra. You don't want to be Aries in the 7th house. That's out the window. Like what happens is people like you want to pick and choose when you are tough. Like, hey, talk to your boyfriend. Nah, I don't feel like, or I don't know. He's not gonna understand. I don't want him to pull away from me. I don't. So you won't talk to him, but let your boyfriend scratch your shoe if you love your shoes. Oh, now you're talking. Now you're cursing, talking, throwing the shoes at him, throwing some, going to scratch something of his up. All right. So we pick and choose what we want to talk about. And unfortunately, in a relationship, you're supposed to try to communicate. And don't get me wrong, because you might be a female, you might say I do try to talk, but this guy never wants to listen. So, like, this planet, it just has so many challenges, and that's why one thing I just learned to slow down, and that's why I said that the first thing. Now, me and my job have been going back and forth. Now I don't know how many of you know Doreen Virtue, but she tells you when you have a calling like this, you're not going to be able to work a job. You're not going to be able to work full time because the universe is going to keep on pushing you here. Now, with me, things was going well, but I'm a Jersey guy. We're very honest people, the ones I know anyway. We're very honest people, and I'm not going to water stuff down, because some people are good at that. They're going to water it down because they're going to keep a customer base. I look at it more like the truth is what's going to help you, not me blowing smoke up your ass, taking money from you. That would only help me, but it's not helping you. And my whole life has been service. You could, like, I'm a dude, like I was listening to one of the greatest boxers in the history of boxing, and he was saying, who has fought 16 years in a ring and never been defeated? So how you gonna say I'm not the greatest? He said end the discussion. So you have people that deal with facts, but people don't want to hear facts. They just either you make me feel a certain way or you don't. And if you don't make me feel a certain way, then you're a liar. Even if I'm not. You're just mad because I don't suck up to you. So I'm more there. So because I'm there, I have to work. Like, I do good here. Don't get me wrong. I do good with what I do online. But I also have to work. Because I can't make enough just with this. But that's because of my personality. But I'd rather have somebody in my midst that's telling me the truth and telling me like it is than somebody that's blowing smoke up my ass with this fake ass bubblegum astrology. But to each his own. Now, what other people have to do, because like I said, there's some people that they just want you to talk to them. And they'll feel good if you talk to them. But feelings are good, but it's not, everything is not just a feeling though. So I don't care if you make me feel good. I like to get results one way or another. Like I've been working with this person for a long time, and we've gone through a lot of ups and downs. But they're beginning to realize you have to love yourself first, because they were so busy looking for somebody to fall in love with. But that's why they kept getting hurt. You have to love yourself first, because then that's when you'll start going, nah, I ain't doing that. Nah, I ain't doing that. Nope. And so I don't mean to be rude or anything else, but I got real problems. And if a person gave me a wrong prescription, I'm trying not to point the finger at nobody. A person gave me a wrong whatever, and it caused everything to swell up. Now it's not my fault. And then the swelling, like in one particular area, does not go, and it's still not really, it's going down now a little bit, but it's still not going down to the point that the doctor's kind of concerned. So of course people don't want to hear that. They're like, oh, this guy again, it's always something wrong, but it's always going to be something wrong with you when you're walking on a righteous path. Because you're on a planet that deals with a lot of unrighteous stuff. So it's going to be good energy against not so good energy. So I gotta stick to my path, not to be mean or to be overbearing with people, but I also can't let people push me to where I get hurt, because ain't nobody gonna help me if my foot breaks. Right now it's freaking hard. Like you could knock on, like you're knocking on like a hard door, not just any door. It's like even harder than, almost like hard like that, or maybe a little less harder than that. It almost would snap. So whatever's going on with that, you gotta wait and see what happens, because that's your skin. It's not supposed to be that hard. Even this is me knocking on my wrist. You might be able to hear that, but it shouldn't it shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be that hard. Like your foot should never be that hard. So that could snap, just break. And all it takes is a freak accident. Because right away somebody, oh man, stop being scared. Oh, ain't nothing gonna happen to you. But all it takes is a freak accident, bro. And I seen them. One freak accident is boom. Some of y'all might know people that lost limbs and stuff because they work maybe as a cook or maybe they cut trees, and all it takes is a second. That's gone, and once it's gone, it ain't coming back. And in some cases, you could actually die depending on what type of sicknesses you have. So this person will be a compassionate healer, Sun in the 12th house, a giving person, a counselor, caring for others, and that you tend to like to work behind the scenes rather than draw attention to yourself. So they say, but this person may feel inferior until later in life when they begin to feel more self-expressed. And they say your inner world is frequently more important than your outer world. So these are things you would know now that you're aware of that you could work on. But that was the Sun in the 12th. All right. Alrighty, righty. Now we're going over to the chart on the right. First house, ascendant. Now that East Point is in the 12th house. First house, ascendant, rising sign, Taurus. And Aries rules the house. So Taurus does care about finances and possessions. But that's like house number 2 that Taurus rules. And finances as well. Finances, possessions, value system. Taurus can be very a magnetic person. People like to be around Tauruses. They can also be very attractive people. Second house is Gemini. And that's again possessions, finances, value system, and Gemini is there. So Gemini could have something to do with publishing. All right. Third house is family. And the third house of communications, siblings. So there might be some type of problem with siblings. And Juno's there. So this person will find himself in a serious relationship with Cancer energy, but it's also going to be a motherly, nurturing type energy because of that moon. And this person himself is going to be somewhat motherly or nurturing, or having a connection to motherly, nurturing energy. But then you have Mars right there. So we dealt with everything on the house on the left, no stelliums on the left. And we also gave advice on how to deal with, but that's not too bad for those houses. All right. So yeah. So they're both going to have a family home orientation in their nature. But again, with him to the right, it's going to be internally that Mars conjunct Moon. So that is somebody that's going to be a little possibly confrontational, agitated. And whenever you get to any degree like 28 degrees or 29, especially 29, but I tend to say 28 as well. It's also going to be somewhat karmic relationship. But now his Mars is 26 degrees. That's third house. So again, when you're dealing with your third house, that could be a sibling situation. Could be family as well because you got Cancer there. But the third house is going to be sibling as well. It's still creative. And also, Mars in the third house could be somebody that's short at the fuse, short-tempered. So, the moon in Cancer is strictly the mother, the nurturer mother. But hers is the moon and Virgo. And that's a lot like the Mother Mary. So it's still that motherly presence. And his is kind of interesting. But like whenever you got the third house is really about younger ones. So when you got Mars in the third house, you just have to be careful because you don't want to be mean or abusive to children. And even when you see the Leo in the fourth house, again, that's definitely a reference to children. And he's got Chiron, but his Chiron is healing because it's direct. If it was a retrograde, it would be something that's hard to heal. But his is healing. So his fourth house is going to have love, childlike ways, children. So he's going to be very creative when it comes to the family. Because the third house, the family's right there with Cancer. And then the fourth house, the family house is Leo. But the fourth house is always teenage to adult education, land or property, real estate, family or ancestors, the heart, such as health conditions, vehicle and travel. And Leo is always going to be fun, creativity, taking risk, childlike ways, just really having life. So that could be a good thing unless the person is just, because some adults are like, for whatever reason, some adults are like that. They're kind of like, they don't want to grow up. And then you'll kind of see them hanging out with kids and stuff like that, like how Michael Jackson was. So you have to be careful of that. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation is just a person that's really fun person, even fun with children. Fifth house is home because of Virgo. Now, let's go the other way. 12th house, we already explained what's in the 12th house. So dealing with subconscious stuff, things that are hidden, things that need to be worked on. We gave you the full thing. You gotta really work on your karma and stuff. 12th house, serve other people, but don't let them martyr you. You gotta know how to still say no. This is all going on the 12th house. You gotta know how to best way to help anybody is to teach them how to help themselves. So that way they're not burning somebody else out. Somebody that's always needing to ride instead of always riding them, burning up your gas, burning up your time, burning you out. Teach that person not only how they can get their own vehicle, but how to be responsible, pay their bills, things like that. Because you know he got Aries. So still the 12th house is dealing with aggressive issues. And ironically, it's opposing the 6th house with Libra. And that's kind of what this one is. Because her Libra, her Aries is going to be kind of tough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though that's in the 6th house, but it's still opposing her 12th where Libra is. So it's still kind of like a I am. It's still going to be an issue with I am in relationship. When you're in a relationship, you really want it to be we. So in my opinion, that's what he's dealing with too in his 12th house. It just can't be I am or aggression in relationship. His 11th house is inspirational, which is good. And again, Lilith can be a good thing in 11th house for Pisces. But sometimes Lilith may be a little, like in the house of family, the house of friends, association, and groups, Lilith may feel a little slighted, like she wants more attention on her. That could be the case, but she may actually get along in the 11th house with Pisces. Because again, it's going to be service. In his case, his 11th house, ruled by Aquarius, is going to be service to other people. Now his 10th house has a nurturer, Curious the Nurturer asteroid, and it's Aries, it's Aquarius. So his career, the 10th house is your career and reputation, has something to do with possibly technology or the community of people. And Saturn in the 10th house, of course, could be some form of karma, but it could also be some type of leader or administrator. So we're assuming he's taking some type of leadership. He's taking some type of leadership, or he's connected to some type of leadership ability in his career and reputation. But now we just want to study a little bit about Saturn and Aquarius. Now this is called Aquarian Astrology. So since it calls itself AquarianAstrology.org, it's only apropos that we go here for Saturn and Aquarius. As long as it doesn't take forever. Okay, now this is somebody who's a little now I'm at AquarianAstrology.org, Saturn and Aquarius. And this is what they said. Saturn and Aquarius Comprehensive Analysis. Below you will find a comprehensive analysis of the Saturn and Aquarius natal placement. Read this and reread it if you have to. Upon a firm understanding of the study, you will have completed the final step of our part study to masterminding your Saturn return. If this is the first page you have landed on my site, then please visit the home page if you would like to brush up on the Saturn return. This person is very technical. If you were born with Saturn in Aquarius, the issues during your Saturn return will be about bringing the light. It will also be about bearing the torch, channeling, finding your mission in life, being different or odd, friendships, networking, politics, music, astrology, and strongly held opinions about change. Anyone with Saturn in Aquarius is ahead of their time by at least 2 generations. Wow. You are a channel of new energy onto the planet, sometimes literally as in Robert Oppenheimer. But your energy is blocked until you understand how to use the power clearly. This may come to you as part of your Saturn return. Your Saturn couldn't deal with time delays and obstacles that seem to come out of nowhere. So you may feel that you're different in life until the ages of 40 to 45. You feel like a stranger in a strange land. You might feel like your whole life is an act, an attempt to fit in and be like everybody else. So at first you question why you see everything as different than other people, but then you begin to realize how important it is as you begin to be on earth more, you age, you begin to realize that your viewpoint is actually enlivening. Because you can point others to higher truths which awaken sleepy eyes. Then somehow, like a cold shower, you remember what your mission is. He uses Michelle Obama because she has Saturn in Aquarius. She had to accept the fact it took a long time to realize that she was black and brilliant. So her first Saturn return occurred at the wake of the death of her father. So when he Saturn returns, something might happen. And then a close friend, she ended up marrying Barack Obama. Because remember, Saturn could be your boss, your father, the man you end up with if you're female. And even though she had a law license, she actually let it lapse because she wanted to focus more on community orientated projects. So that would be the Aquarius side, community oriented projects. And the law license, that might have been more of Saturnian side, more because believe me, there is a lot of authority being a lawyer, just like it's a lot of authority being a doctor. So somebody that has Saturn And Aquarius, you have to learn you'll benefit from and understand forgiving your parents. They say it's usually the father, but I'm going to tell you that's not always true. So you have to know how things were their issues, because I learned that a long time ago. I don't carry nobody's dirt. I got my problems. I don't need to be sitting here being guilty because somebody, whoever, was a nut job or whatever. And it's a tendency of people to try to put their bullshit on you, and you got to know how to put people's bullshit back where it belongs with them. And that's why I tell you about the 12th house. It is a house of service, but that doesn't mean you become a walking stone, a walking rug for other people. And they say sometimes you might have parents or others that have problems, and that might really affect you. So they're quoting Michelle Obama saying because everything her father went through and stuff, that pushes her to move further in her life. And like I said, each person is different, but I try to teach people, push yourself forward because of you. Don't push yourself forward for somebody you love. Don't push yourself forward for this. Push yourself forward because you want to be pushed forward. And everybody has different motivation, but sometimes this is what happens. We're waiting for that other person. Oh, somebody! If only somebody's going to come and that's going to motivate me. Oh, somebody! Or we think religion's the answer or some deity's the answer. But the truth of the matter is, you have to be going. Because until you really want to go and succeed in your life, it's just not going to really happen. So this is Michelle Obama. Every day I stay hungry, not just for myself, but for him. Talking about her father. So Saturn can cause a complex maturity. So then they talked about Leonard Cohen, who is said to have make Bob Dylan seem childish in comparison. Uh, I think I know who Leonard is. A lot of the rappers don't like him, if that's who I think it is. But I could be wrong. Give me one moment. Because I'm seeing Hallelujah, and that's the guy that wrote Hallelujah. Yep, that's the writer of Hallelujah. Because when you talk Bob Dylan, you got to be careful. Which Bob Dylan? The 1960s Bob Dylan, the 1970s Bob Dylan. Which Bob Dylan are you talking about? So because she's not providing, she said more on him later. Leonard Cohen. Since she didn't give a whole lot of information, there's nowhere I can really go with that. So for some Saturns and Aquarius, the healing never takes place, and there could be a rebellious, childish quality or adolescence, and that's what I told you. Gotta remember what they're telling you. Michael Jackson had father issues, and he stayed a young boy, and now he's in trouble with young boys and stuff like that because he never grew up. Oh, she's calling out my former governor. You keep Chris Christie out of your mouth, lady. I'll smack the shit out of you, Jersey style. You keep Chris Christie out of your freaking mouth. And she said Louis Farrakhan, I'm calling a nation. Tom Cruise. Aleister Crowley, you better watch it, lady. Winston Churchill, that drunk. He's hilariously funny, though. If you want to study Winston Churchill, especially during World War II. because he was drunk a lot of that time. John Stewart. Okay, you could crack on him. She says these are strong, accomplished individuals with identity deeply rooted in autonomy and even belligerence in some cases. Must be talking about Winston. One wonders at times if the point is the idea the person stands for or just the idea of being different. Because she's talking about people with Saturn and Aquarius. All those people help communities around them, but generally from a serious point of view. Because almost everybody she named, they have that in common, but not so much Jon Stewart though. Now we can, like I said, if you're really being honest, uh, before Chris Christie came to power, like Attorney General, they were just locking black people up all the time. Especially where I'm at, my part of New Jersey. Every time you open a newspaper up, black people, black people, black people. I said, wow, come on, lock some white people up. Come on, let's be fair. Let's be fair. When Christie took over, man, you saw kind of white people going to jail, like getting in trouble. And I knew something was different. I was like, why? What's going on? And I went study because I couldn't believe it. And then all of a sudden I came across Chris Christie. Also, when they owed us money for Sandy, it was Chris Christie that got the money. He got the money from Washington. He made Barack Obama come here and pay homage to New Jersey. So I can't say nothing bad about Chris Christie. Now they're saying Saturn and Aquarius, you must move from inner to outer. So Saturn and Aquarius is somebody that has an inner life that is vital and profound. So your outer life will have to stand still to permit your inner life to come out. Now they're saying Dr. Seuss channeled his Saturn and Aquarius energy well, reminding children and their parents in many ways that they had the duty to be their unique selves. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't Dr. Seuss, but it should have been. Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. Wow! Now you tell me that didn't just sound like a horse is a horse, of course, of course. Are you sure Dr. Seuss did not write Mr. Ed theme song? Now I'm curious because I'm an investigator and we don't like loose ends. Who wrote the theme song for Mr. Ed? Hello, I'm Mr. Ed. And then there it goes. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. Here we go, Mr. Ed, Wikipedia. Don't worry, I'll be right with you. Investigators don't like to leave loose ends. It could drive you crazy. Mr. Ed is an American television sitcom produced by Filmways, which originally aired in syndication from January 5th to July 2nd, 1961, and then on CBS from October 1st, 1961 to February 6, 1966. So Walter R. Brooks created Mr. Ed in short stories. So Mr. Ed is one of the few series that debut in syndication and be picked up by a major network for prime time. All 143 episodes were filmed in black and white. So it definitely was a children author. So somebody probably was ripping off Dr. Seuss. See, if I had more time to investigate, we got to get our years together. Because maybe Mr. Walter R. Brooks was doing a little dipping from Dr. Seuss. Maybe you were dipping in the Seuss juice there, Mr. Brooks. A brook is a brook is a crook, a crook. Because it sounds a lot like Dr. Seuss, bucko. So this all began with the talking horse in the September 18th. There goes that number 18 again. 1937 issue of Liberty magazine. He also wrote Freddie the Pig series of children novels, showing you animals that interacted with humans. Sounds like somebody was stealing from somebody. So either Dr. Seuss was stealing from the Brooks, or the Brooks was stealing from Dr. Seuss. One of these guys is a crook. And then they had one called Francis the Talking Mule movies. But the mule will only talk to one person, just like the horse. Mr. Ed only talked to Wilbur. So there's a lot of stealing going on here. And Lubin was the director. So Lubin, the director, wanted to make a Francis the Mule TV series, but he was unable to secure the rights. So somebody said, hey, fuck that mule. Get with the horse. And everybody knows that a horse, of course. Unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. And that was it. So it looks like the mule lost a little bit of money and never became famous. Who the freak ever heard of Francis the Mule? Get this. Who do you think financed the original pilot for Mr. Ed? Well, George Burns, the guy that played God. Hey, come here, Gracie. They say to me, how old are you? I'm just a nerd. I just like taking in information. All right, now it says George Burns. Keep going. I see Jack Benny. Hey, Jack Benny was behind the scenes on Mr. Ed. No wonder it was so freaking funny. Because Jack Benny's one of the most funniest, not just comedic actors, but probably writers as well. They still imitate Jack Benny's style to this day, as well as George Burns and Johnny Carson's. One of the greatest comedians, comedic characters today is Vince McMahon from WWE. Hilariously comedic character. If you were ever into that type of stuff, he learned all that stuff from like studying Jack Benny and stuff like that, because he was fantastic. These are the Charlie Chaplins and on and on and on. So at the time, Lubin, the director, couldn't sell the show to a network, so they sold the show to syndication. But after it aired on syndication and people saw how funny the show was and how talented Mr. Ed was, he finally landed on a major TV channel, a major TV network. So we may not know who came up with everything, and I don't want to sit here all day, but I knew there was some type of Dr. Seuss feel to this. So somebody was robbing somebody is what I'm trying to tell you. But as you can see, there was a whole lot of robbing going on. But that was interesting. I want to thank this person because I got a little background information. All right, let's get back. So they're saying Saturn and Aquarius, once they realize they're here for a reason, they're going to be a catalyst. Also, they have the gift of seeing something for someone else, and it'll start to happen. So if they see something for a person, it actually quickens it up. See, these are universal metaphysical laws that we're not really aware of. So they say this person's thoughts, Saturn and Aquarius, is his magic wand. So your first Saturn return would be showing you your mission. Something to do with equality. The second Saturn return brings the true freedom. Now she's back on Leonard Cohen. And what did Leonard Cohen write about, since we're talking about Saturn and Aquarius? I'm sorry, but we have to analyze this. This is very important because Leonard Cohen wrote one of the greatest reality rock songs there ever was, about David praising God for having sex with a married woman, Bathsheba, and killing her husband to hide it. And he's praising God for the sex for Bathsheba, and that God let him keep Bathsheba even though she was another man's wife. Woo! Now, as sick as that sounds, it's quite human if you're being honest. Now, if you're not an honest person, of course, you're going to feel like, oh, well, that's disgusting, but you know what you think. You know what you feel. In fact, some people dress sexy, even though they know dressing sexy is getting somebody's man looking at them. They don't care about your wife. They don't care about your kids. They care about their sexiness. So that's why Hallelujah was a great song, because it was real. How each and every one of us had that evil side, that if we're not careful, we could get ourselves in trouble. But that's the Aquarius side, the human side. Now Saturn represents the law. You got to pay for that, David. Somebody's got to die. And that's what happened, in case you guys didn't know that. Somebody did die. But if you don't know your Bibles, I'm not going to tell you who, because it gets kind of sad. So that's why this song is so powerful, so phenomenal, because everybody can relate to saying hallelujah. Because you're fighting that sinful nature. The Saturn is saying it's wrong, it's bad, it's 30. But the Aquarius side is saying, but it's so human. So now she's back on Leonard Cohen, wrote novels and poetry on the island and Greece throughout his first Saturn return. I never knew the guy was from Greece. But emerged from that. And it's funny because she was talking about Chris Christie, but Bon Jovi, also from New Jersey, is a big fan of Leonard Cohen. But emerged from that period frustrated with his ability to make money as a writer. So I told you it's going to be some type of blocks or obstacles. So because this is going on in this man's 10th house on his natal chart, he may experience the same blocks. He moved back to North America and turned his attention to music, the beginning of a fabled career as a songwriter. As he approached his second Saturn return, Cohen's album, The Future, was released. Isn't it funny that somebody with Saturn and Aquarius will write an album entitled The Future? Because Saturn is all about time. But yet people think the universe is not alive. And they don't believe that as above is so below. This is why such people need to study more. Talk less. See, Aquarius out here on YouTube, everybody can leave a comment. How about we try thinking? How about we try thinking before we leave a comment? How about we say, I'm not going to comment on anything that I don't really know? Because that's how we start to use our brains. And that's how we can get past, where is my twin at? Where is my, because it's all, it's called twin flames. Why? Because you have to use the brain and the emotions. That's why. And then it gets a little deeper with the metaphysics, the soul, the spirit. The Future was released. It was his best-selling work ever. And Kurt Cobain famously dreamed of living in a Leonard Cohen afterworld. Wow. I'm going to have to check this guy out. I know Hallelujah. I know a lot of people talked about him. I've never known him that much. But one of my favorite renditions of Hallelujah is that punk rock guy that committed suicide. I'm sorry, I see you. But I just can't. I was just talking about him the other day. Sid, I think. Sid Vicious, I think. So I'm going to have to study this maybe tonight. Future. The Future. Because a lot of rock and rollers love this guy. Internationally acclaimed for his musical talent, Cohen was equally well known for his womanizing. Uh-oh. He seemed to find his true love in Rebecca De Mornay in the early 1990s, only to see that relationship fall apart during his second Saturn return, when he says she realized he could never come through for her as a husband and father, and finally she saw I was a guy who just couldn't come across, in the sense of being a husband and having more children and the rest. And she was right, of course. In the wake of the breakup, he retreated to a Buddhist monastery outside LA, famous for its rigorous interpretation of Zen Buddhism. And there he finally found his true soulmate and master, Sasaki Rashi. Now her name had to be Rasi because my twin's name is Rosa. Rasi Rosa. She haunts me everywhere. Oh, I feel so bad right now. And that's where she's at on my chart. Guess where she's at on my chart? Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, 9th house medium Coeli. And his medium Coeli is in the 9th house as well. See, we're all connected, people. We may not like each other. We may not get along. But we're all connected by the universe. We are truly all one. And that's why Hallelujah is such a great song. Such evil. Such meanful. Such selfish. But so beautiful and sexual and passionate and dark and dirty. It's truly us. And this is why Mr. Leonard Cohen is so freaking famous. But isn't it funny that as evil as the song is, and even though he couldn't satisfy one woman as her husband and father to the kids, he could run to a Zen Buddhist monk, a master monk teacher, which I guess was a female, and shack up with her. Isn't that amazing? I hope this is resonating with someone. I hope you're not just going, hey man, it's taking too long. Get to the point. No, sir. No, ma'am. That's what the point is. All you want to do is rush with your impatience, and then you want to wonder where your twin is or why your twin isn't with you. Maybe if you slowed it down, let the universe in, study a little bit more, make the changes, then maybe your twin will be with you and find you irresistible. It's funny, I put that name in, Sagittarius, and over on the right, he came up. Lohan Cohen. I'm going to find out about this. All right, well, I see a man sitting here. What the heck is this all about? All right, well, why did they put that woman next to him? What is this? Oh, Zen, okay. Let's do this again. I missed something. In the wake of his breakup, he retreated to a Buddhist monastery outside LA. Wow, that's interesting. Famous for his rigorous interpretation of Zen Buddhism, and he finally found his true soulmate and Master Sakiratsu. Wow, that's deep. See the way she wrote that? That's not cool. Because it sounds a little funny. He left a woman that wanted to be married, and he found his true soulmate in Master Sasaki Rasi. So what are you saying? What do you say? Now you could have a soulmate that, you know, it's just a guy friend, but you guys are soulmate. Like I said, all a soulmate is a soul family. But the way she wrote it, Cohen emerged after several years, finally cured of his lifelong depression, freed from his sorrow and many prescription medications. He tried to improve his emotional state over the previous decades. So Saturn and Aquarius have a uncanny ability to understand the human condition. They also have a connection between the inner and outer reality. They can do a lot to raise consciousness. They're like Carl Jung, Joseph Campbell, one of my favorite. Joseph Campbell's one of my favorite. George Orwell, I believe that's 1994, a great book. A great book, 1984. I just want to make sure I'm correct. George Orwell, 1984, I was correct. A great book. Let us continue. Carl Sagan, another read your mind type of person or whatever. Well, whatever. Psycho, whatever. Might be about outer space, but it's still going to show you the connection. Frederick Nietzsche, I don't know who that is, who shared profound insights about what it means to be a human being. The energy can also be expressed in a humanitarian or political career. Gloria Steinem, Alexander Hamilton, Albert Schweitzer, who all fought vigilantly for equality. Alexander Hamilton was the first Secretary of the Treasury and founding father of the United States. He was an influential interpreter and founder of the U.S. Constitution, as well as the founder of the nation's financial system, the Federalistic Party. Because the feds are still running shit, motherfucker. So if you're mad at those guys, you can thank Alexander Hamilton. All right, she's still giving you a whole lot of other people's history. I don't want it. I was only interested in Leonard Cohen, because I keep hearing about this guy wherever I go. He keeps popping up. And that's how I know we got to meet, especially since I'm learning more about Saturn and Aquarius, and his master teacher was Rasi. And my twin is Rosa. Rasi Rosa, same thing. You cannot get to the Mother Mary, the Divine Feminine, unless you go through the Rose Portal. Now get your Bibles, Acts chapter 8. If you notice, Peter was in jail. When he got out of jail, he tried to go see Mother Mary, and he got stopped at the gate by Rhoda. Rhoda would not let Peter through the gate. And if you understand, the name God gave me in summer of 1992 is Gad, or Gate, which is in the Bible. I'm not going to go into it, but again, just like you learned about what I told you if you were listening, we are all connected to the universe. The faster you learn that, the better off you'll be. The more you start resisting it and trying to battle guys that are metaphysical, which are third dimensional garbage, the faster off you can get to where you want to be. You want to be happy, connect back to the universe, because you're in a matrix. They made movies to tell you you're in a matrix. They've given you all kind of movies to show you where you're really at, but you still want to be loyal to the matrix. You got to break out the matrix, tap back into the universe, and get your happiness back. And this is why they found the Messiah by a star. The star led them to the Messiah. The star told them that he was going to be the king, because the star was his natal chart. Simply put, you can believe it or rebel against it. It's my job as an Aquarius, as a Saturn and Aquarius, to teach it to you. But it's not my job. Only you can receive it. And I don't need a Zen monk to get to where I'm going, because I'm walking around with the big balls, the head chief. So another one is Gloria Steinem, who became a chief feminist, and she also was a Playboy bunny. She became a Playboy bunny so that she could expose what a Playboy bunny goes through. Aquarian energy. Although Aquarian energy can be predictable, unpredictable, in maturity it's actually quite stable. She said King Mohammed VI of Morocco and King Abdullah of Jordan. So she's talking about people who use Saturn energy to get change, and the people are able to make it through. Of course they'll make it through, because if they try to rebel, they get killed. Of course change is going to work when you've got no choice. That was funny. Listen, everybody knows Saturn's a little uptight, okay? And Aquarius and Saturn ain't never going to get along. But every now and then you need somebody like a Saturn to come in and say, that's it. You people are out of control. You people are a little bit higher than animals. We've got to restore law and order. So every now and then you need a little Saturn to come in and put his foot up some asses to get people back in check. Okay? That's just the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. Because people get a little crazy. A little crazy. So if you want to learn about Saturn return, this is aquarianastrology.org. That's aquarianastrology.org. I like this person. She's very knowledgeable, or whoever wrote this. And I'll try to get the name when I finish. I'm going to go back to the top and get the name. So anybody with Saturn and Aquarius is going to raise consciousness around them. But she says you're going to lose jobs. She's telling you, just like Doreen Virtue said, you're going to lose jobs. People are not going to, they might support you 1 minute and stop. She said, but you got to keep moving, because you're going to get to where you're supposed to be in the universe. You have to believe in your ability. But just don't believe in your ability. Believe in your purpose, man. It's not about you, okay? That's why I took one of the greatest writers of all time, Leonard Cohen. He had to find his place because it was never about him. He had to find his place to get to peace. And you could spell peace with place, or place with peace. Just got to borrow a couple of letters here and there, but you can do it. So you got to believe in your place, not just your ability. But yes, you do have to believe in yourself as well. That's what I would say. I would say don't believe in your ability. Believe in yourself, okay? And your place in the universe. But don't believe in your ability because, like Superman said it best, people love me for Superman. Superman is what I can do. Clark is who I am. So you want to believe in your Clark Kent. If you remember your Clark Kent, Superman will do just fine. But you best believe if you start believing in your Superman or Superwoman, you're going to have some problems because that same Saturn universe or that Pluto's going to come and put its foot up your ass to humble you, okay? And this is why, wasn't Pluto like with Popeye? I know they had Brutus or something, but I think they had a Pluto too. This is why Popeye had a problem with Pluto. Let's look it up, okay? Because I don't want you guys to think I'm out here just saying shit, okay? Okay, Pluto. You say blue, I say Plu. Hey, on Facebook, there's a guy named Popeye Pluto. I'm sorry, I digress. Okay, so the first Saturn return brings the mission. The second Saturn return brings your freedom. So what are you waiting for? Go get them. Oh, they say go get them, Tiger. That's so cool. Now, let me tell you why that's important. Because I work with my soulmate. Now, this is not my twin soul, I don't think. I think this is my soulmate. And when I first met her, the universe introduced me to Durga, the Hindu goddess. And Durga rides a lion. But that's the strength card and the tarot card. Durga rides the lion, but it can sometimes be a tiger. So they're probably telling me to learn more about Saturn return so I can get to where I need to be in the universe. Now, the writer of this wonderful article and probably this website, Home, True Node, Saturn return, Zodiac sign traits, Zodiac compatibility. Okay, let's go to the home because I want to know who wrote this. Because they're very good. Her name is Celestine and there's a picture of her. Thank you, Celestina. I think it was. And her mother was a famous astrologer. But it keeps flipping. Like, I would like to read more about her, but it keeps flipping to something else. But that was good. That was very encouraging. Let us continue. That's his 10th house. So it's karma there. So he also has a karmic debt to help the community. And you see he's a nurturer too. Or I shouldn't say a karmic debt. He has a karmic assignment for Aquarius. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6th house is service, and that's his vertex. So he may find himself, well, he may have a significant meeting or soul connection with Libra energy or Virgo energy. Her moon sign is Virgo. Her sun sign is Libra. And even if his 12th house, because Virgo rules the 6th house, and that's her Aries, and in his 12th house, which is opposite his 6th house, there's Aries. So I would tell her, like, just watch her. I hope you were listening, you know, because I know I gave a lot of information. And this is what I say. Let me just explain human nature to you. And I understand this. But people like to blame other people. Like somebody will say, why is he talking about low? And I don't need to know all that, blah, blah. Now, why don't you just listen when I'm talking about you to get the information? Because everything has a part. And we're talking about Aquarius, which is community. So everything I do is for other people. But that's why I stay blessed. I just got blessed today. But I've been serving other people my whole life. Not bragging, not boasting. This is why I never come on camera. It's never been about me. People think it is because I'm a Leo. I just have a big mouth. But it's never about me. I'm a servant. So what I'm trying to teach you here is you're getting the information you need. See, I'm like the Karate Kid guy, the teacher, whatever his name was. I forget what his name was. Mr. Moriarty or something like that. So the kid wanted to learn the martial arts. And Mr. Moriarty said, okay, no problem. I'll teach you, Danielson. Go clean this. Go clean that. Go clean that. Paint my freaking house, Danielson. Go clean my freaking toilet. So finally, after that one, the toilet, I think that's when Danielson freaked out on him. And he went New Jersey on his ass. Because that's how we New Jerseyans are. He went on his ass. He told him off. I came here to learn karate and you got me cleaning your freaking house and blah, 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 blah. Danielson. Danielson. Wax on. Wax off. And then the kid saw that he was teaching you. Patience. Nothing is more important than patience. Your life might be a certain place because you think you know everything. Now, if you're listening, you got great advice. Way more than what she actually paid less than what this is for, just so everybody knows that. But it was more important to me to do this because we are intuitive. This was more about the community and for anybody who hears this video. And listen, that gentleman, Mr. Lowen, whatever his name is, Leonard Cohen, he's been knocking on my door for years. And I've always been a big fan of Sid Vicious. Way back in the days of New Wave rock and roll, back in the 70s. And all these New Jersey guys love Mr. Cohen too. So I am definitely going to listen to the future on YouTube because I know it's going to be a message for me. So when you can think more like an Aquarian, when you can think more like community, that's when you're going to start getting past your third dimensional bullshit. Because this is why your twin's not with you. Because you got all this third dimensional drama going on. You got all this healing that needs to be healed. And most of you guys think, well, I'll just get in a relationship and I'll heal that way. But no, sometimes you got to go to the 12th house and spend some alone time and heal that way. Because it's ironic when your 12th house has Libra in it. Because Libra is supposed to be a couple. But I just did Pluto. And this is why I told you, this is the universe. I just did Pluto in Libra. And they're like, nah, not every Pluto in Libra is about relationship. Because Pluto can be very isolation. It's very alone. Because Pluto rules Scorpio. It can be very isolated alone. So you have to get to the introspection, get a little honesty going, get some goals going. And that's what Mr. Cohen did. He ran away from a woman that loved him because he didn't want to make that commitment she felt she needed. And he ends up isolated with some monk. And the woman had to say, well, the monk was his soulmate. Now, I don't know. What are you saying? Are you saying they became really connected on a higher than third dimensional way? Or are you saying they were connected on a more sensual or romantic way? What are you saying? Because the way she wrote it, it just came out a little weird. So these are what I call the mysteries of the universe. And I don't want to know how they were connected. It's none of my business. So for people that are listening, that's why I do this. We all give and you receive. And a lot of people get mad. I had one female tell me, bah, 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 I know you keep everything confidential, but I still don't want my stuff to go public. I said, okay, fine. Well, then you can pay the price that you should be paying, and I won't cut you no breaks. The prices are kept low so that other people can benefit, so that we all benefit. And that's why a guy like me, no matter how rough my life gets, I really don't have to worry because I'm always giving. So it's going to be a karmic responsibility that at some point in time or a point of need, something will be given back. See, a lot of people work on Wall Street. They know how to invest. They know how to do the stock. They know how to get the return off their money. I do the same thing, but I only do it spiritually. So if you're listening, you learned a lot. You learned about this guy. You know where to work on things. You've learned a little bit about meditation, going deep inside. See, your affirmations can be poetry. We talked about Dr. Seuss, the other guy that used the poetry. Lots you can learn if you slow down. A little patience. Take notes. It's not going to happen overnight. And if you keep pushing it, you're only making it go longer. That's why I'm at a point in my life now. I could care less if any of that stuff happens. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, I'm cool. I'm happy with myself. I'm not stressing over that. Like I said, you don't know how many times before I knew what I knew, I used to worry, how come that failed? How could that have failed so much? You know, all I had was pure love for this person. How could this person be so cruel, so mean? But now I realize it just wasn't time. Or maybe that wasn't the right person for me. Or maybe she didn't deserve the love. Maybe that's why she rejected it so hard. One, two, three, four, five, sixth house. Libra in the sixth house, vertex. That's going to need to be a twin soul, twin flame. Significant event, significant breakup. But they're going to have Jupiter helping them at all times. Now, if you go to her Virgo, Virgo rules the sixth house. Jupiter is right there. So Jupiter will always help them financially, and Jupiter will always help to bring them together. And once again, it's all in the 11th house, Aquarius. So if these two ever did get together, they may have some type of home support for the community. Because Aquarius is friends, association, groups. Seventh house got Scorpio in it. Okay, now we're going deep. So I just want you to hear this, miss. Because I was going to say that even though you guys seem to be very closely connected, that I think you guys are still just soulmates. You got some karmic assignment together. But because of the seventh house, because of his seventh house, I now believe this is your twin flame. Because his seventh house, all about the relationship and the love and all that stuff, is your first house. And you've already been with this guy in a past life, which is why your ascendant is Libra. Because you got some unfinished business with him in this life. And that's what she was asking me. She said, we haven't talked in months. But I've given you some advice how to stay on top of it. And again, I have so many offers for people. I have some people that buy a year in advance. I have people that buy 2018 in advance. Some people buy 2019 in advance in segments, like the first 3 or 4 months. But I do so much to help people who really want it. Because if you're just curious, you're not going to stay anyway. And the reason why a lot of people, because you have to do something. Very rarely is it going to happen. And a guy might come and go wham, bam, but then it's going to be thank you, ma'am. And then you're going to be going, why is this separation? Because you're not listening. That's why. I have a friend now. She's still a friend of mine. We've gone through ups and downs. But she's becoming more and more enlightened. You know? Because I had to really give her a reality check. This is not about me and you. We're all benefiting from each other. And everybody has a moment. See, I know I have a moment. Guaranteed. But I also have a spiritual side. I have a great relationship with God. I know my prayers are heard. So it's those times when you're Danielson and you're saying to Mr. Moriarty, when's my time going to be? What about me? And everybody has a time, everybody has a whatever. Separation is an illusion. But if we focus on it, we make it a reality. Loneliness is an illusion. Because guess what? You could go out right now. Maybe you got some relatives you get along with. I bet you wouldn't feel lonely if you just went out and took your mind off yourself. Put it on having fun with your whoever you have fun with. Some people like animals. You might go somewhere where animals aren't. All of a sudden you don't feel so lonely. Might go to a whatever. So that's an illusion too. But it becomes powerful when you sit there and go, oh, I'm so lonely. Why am I so lonely? Wow, it was 7:01 a minute ago. And I looked at the clock. I thought 15 minutes went by. Now it's 7:02. Oh, I hate that. Oh, the phone rings, but it's never for me. I hate because you're just sitting there. All you're doing is sitting there. Because I went through shit like that. Then I just started getting busy. I just stay busy, and I don't care. And that's why even the crap I'm going through now, it's like I worry about it, but I don't worry about it because I stay busy. But if I did worry about it, I would sit here all day long and go, why are these people talking about me and blah, 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 blah. But fuck them. Fuck them. It's still going to happen. I thank God. So far, God has been on my side because, like I said, I'm going through something that's no fault of my own. And I know how to fight. If somebody did say, okay, well, we don't care if it's no fault of your own. This is what we're going to do. Well, then I know what to do if they do that. That's why I sound like Christie so much, Chris Christie. Because I remember I had some issues, wrote Chris Christie, and his office did something about it. I'm just a little black guy in New Jersey. No power, no clout, but I'm not a punk. And I know who to contact. But that's because I don't sit around whining all day long about, oh, I'm so lonely, and where's my twin? Get up and do something. And the secret of this is, you may get with your twin flame, your twin soul. You may get with your soulmate. You may just get with somebody that you just have a great relationship with. It's a big planet. And I used to say this years ago, and I thought I was wrong because everybody wants me to give you bubblegum astrology. And I realized I can't do that. Even though I lost a lot of money because I didn't lie to the people or blow smoke up their ass. But I'm not here for that silly stuff. If you really want something great, be great. And to watch greatness follow you. But if you think another person is going to make you happy, that's foolish. You're actually setting yourself up for sadness. Because nobody can really make you happy but yourself. So that's why this is conducted the way it is. It's a lot of information. And the great news is you got fast forward and stuff like that. If you feel like you don't resonate with it, you have fast forward or whatever you want to do. But you got all 12 houses, explained all of it. So you got all the information that you paid for, maybe a whole lot more. So you can either look at it as half full or half empty. I don't know. But I got to teach the way the universe has assigned me to teach. And that's other people are listening too. So even if one person comes across this video and they be like, oh, wow, he gave me so much history. Wow, that really inspired me. Wow. That used to be my favorite TV show, Mr. Ed. You know, good. Now you know more about it. And now you know the metaphysical reasons and all the stuff that happened to make Mr. Ed possible. You never knew. We're all connected. And the more you realize we're more connected, the less you stop worrying about why so-and-so isn't with me. So the idea is to make a person strong. And once you become strong, you attract what you are. And then you won't be lonely because people will be coming to you. But if you're feeling lonely, you're projecting that energy out. And that's what you're getting back. Oh, look at that loser. Seventh house going back in. So that's his sun sign as well. So really, his sun sign is connected to Libra, just like hers is. Because that's the seventh house ruled by Libra. Scorpio. While Pluto at 22 degrees, which is the twin flame number. And also, so he's going to be a very transformational person. And I would tell you, because you get a free report, you should study the 8th house on your free report, because both of y'all got that Scorpio connection. The Scorpio actually rules the 8th house. So you need to know all the stuff that's going on there. So he's going to be a very transformational person too. So you're going to have to realize that. So that is the type of person that will stop speaking to you and things like that. But the truth of the matter is, the more people learn astrology and the more they bring themselves in harmony with their astrological assignments, the less resistive they'll be, the less they'll run away. Now, you see Vesta at 2 degrees, but I'm just going to let you know a little something. I believe Vesta is more closer to his Scorpio, his 7th house, than his 8th house. And I believe he probably does view sex as spiritual, because Vesta can be a sexual priestess. So that's what I believe about his Vesta. And remember, I had a problem with your Vesta as well. Why was she there? Now I got a problem with his Vesta too. And I've never had that before. And also, look, there's a true north node not far behind. So isn't that ironic? But see, his true north node and Vesta together just like hers. Not at the same degree, but in the same house. That's so interesting. Okay, 9th house. And like I said, 9th house. 9th house. Let me do it again. Okay. 8th house. His true north node, ruled by Scorpio, 8th house, Sagittarius. So again, you got to really understand the 8th house, because he's going to be like a master teacher. And all that metaphysical, eschatological, mystical. And that's probably why, yeah. So that's why Vesta is there. Because see, either way, it's going to be sexual. What I was trying to tell you is, when you see Scorpio and Vesta, it's going to be sexual. So that's why I was saying that about Vesta might be with Scorpio. But either way, it's still with Scorpio. But this is going to be like people that go through like a lot of sex. Like especially, because they have a lot of communities that do that. They just have a lot of sex because they see it as spiritually beneficial. So he's there. He's got love there. His true north node is there. So he's going to have a unique situation with the Sagittarius energy as well. It's no doubt in my mind that he's not going to have a unique. And that's, again, this is the 8th house, which could be your soulmate house. Because they meet different people. But that's going to help bring him out of whatever shell he's in. He will have communication problems in the 8th house and with the Sagittarius energy. And Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So he's going to have to learn how to communicate. Because the reason being, he has such great skills. So he's going to have to learn how to communicate, because you don't want your messages not understood. And he may, Mercury retrograde could also mean some forms of confusion. But that's why I told you, his journey is going to have time blocks and hindrances. And sometimes, believe it or not, that's part of his journey. Because the hero, see, when you use tarot cards, the fool is actually the hero. It's called the hero's journey. And he's got to go through all this stuff before he gets to where he needs to get. And this is why Mr. Moriarty took Daniel through some stuff he didn't want to do. Because that's how you get to the hero journey. Where's my twin? Why is my twin not with me? Blah, blah, blah. Why is my twin with somebody else? Why is my twin? So you're putting yourself through all this hell. And I know Danielson didn't want to paint nobody's house. Danielson didn't want to clean nobody's toilet. And then some of them times when he was working, Mr. Moriarty would just be sitting there, chilling. And that's how Daniel was getting pissed off. That's when you're yelling out to God, can't you see what I'm going through? Do you hear me? Don't you know this bill has to be paid? Can't you see what just happened? And it just seemed like God doesn't give a freak. And then on one day where you can't take it no more, that's when you start cursing the hell out of God. And then that's when you have your breakthrough. Anybody out there might even know I'm not lying. But most of y'all are terrified. Y'all are terrified of spirituality. You're terrified of everything. You're just out here on YouTube. Bubblegum astrology. Now, somebody that actually walk the walk, talk the talk like me, I can definitely tell you how to go and what to do because I've done it. I've been there. That's why I won't taint what I do by the littlest. Not by the littlest infraction. And it's not because I'm rigid or won't budge. It's because I know how important this is. Especially when I see people's lights come on and they break out this freaking matrix. So now, you are now in the 9th house where the medium Coeli is. So this is going to be Sagittarius energy. But a lot of times with twin flames, Sagittarius energy is good because it means maturity. And so is Capricorn energy. Because Capricorn means seriousness as well. But it can also mean karma. So now you still have Neptune in the 9th house of Sagittarius, just like hers. So it's still going to be telepathy and tapping into the universe, dreams. And Uranus also cause things to happen. Remember, Pallas helps a person see patterns, but Pallas is also social issues. Because it seems like both of these people are going to be helping in social issues. Part of fortune or good fortune is basically just amplifying that 9th house energy. But this person is going to be somewhat idealistic because of Neptune, somewhat of a master teacher, might have a career out of it, and also is unpredictable. See, because don't forget Uranus rules Aquarius. So that's why when that guy wrote that song, Hallelujah, he's writing a song praising God for committing adultery and murder and covering it up. But the sex was so good. Having the soul connection with Bathsheba was so good that David was saying to God, I know you know how transformative this was, how transformative this situation was, how transformative this sin was, how great, how passionate, how wonderful it was. And you knew it was that great that even though you disciplined me, you didn't take her away from me. And out of Bathsheba came King Solomon because God killed the firstborn. So King Solomon became the firstborn. But still, King Solomon should not have been the king of Israel because there was another firstborn, the real one. But God didn't choose him. God chose Solomon. But why would God choose Solomon from a prostitute mother, well, a sleazy mother who cheated on her own husband with the king? Why couldn't David get to sleep that night? That when he went out on his roof to look at the stars, he sees a woman bathing, Bathsheba, and next thing he knows, he's bumping and grinding. So do you think that was just a coincidence, or you think God had something to do with it? You figure that out. Me, I already know. But that's because I've been doing spirituality for a long time. I try to wake people up, but you're only going to go as far as you break out of the matrix. So I'm real thankful for both of these charts, but especially the guy on the right side, because he's going to break people. And I'm not saying me and him would agree on everything, because I don't think we would. But the fact that he's waking people up, you got to respect that. Medium Coeli is also part of your life purpose. And a lot of times when medium Coeli is in your 9th house, it's part of your life purpose, but that is also going to be part of your career as well. My medium Coeli in the 9th house is Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So this person, I'm going to help the community, but I'm also going to do it with Saturn retrograde, which is no nonsense approach, is what I do. So let's find his true north node. And it's still Sagittarius. So this guy really will have the personality of a Sagittarius. They're healers. They're like a psychologist. A lot of them are prison nurses. They're healers, good friends, good listeners. So his ninth house, is that his ninth? Well, that's his eighth house with Sagittarius. So his eighth house and his ninth house, and really his 10th house because of Capricorn, and Uranus because Aquarius is there. So his 8th house, 9th house, and 10th house are going to be a major part. Not the only part, but the major part of his personality. But he will have a loyalty to the community that's quite commendable. So whenever you're in separation, I tell you, try to work on yourself. Try not to be afraid, because you got to learn how to communicate. And a lot of y'all should let the people hear the readings if they're willing to listen to it. Because you never know, they may listen to it. Because they already told you, this guy on the right, he can say things and they become a reality just because he said it. See, you never underestimate the power of astrology. Because I hear females, oh, he should come to me, or they play hard to get, or all that. See, you're still staying in third dimensional. But what y'all don't realize is, if somebody ever came up to you, like I've been single for a long time by choice. But what if somebody did come up to you on some real stuff? You know, boom, I got a natal reading, boom, boom, boom. Just if you would just listen, I wanted you to hear. But you can kind of tell that they put time into this. I keep seeing the number 910. His ascendant is 910. That's my mother's birthday. I see that number all over the place. And Taurus is my brother-in-law. And that's where my mother is right now with my brother-in-law. This is why I tell you, all this is connected. All this is connected. But if a person comes to you and they're kind of showing you that they're serious about this, that'll start to break down walls that you put up. And that's the start right there. Because the person's showing you, I really thought about this, I'm interested in this, and I did my whatever. And that's why when you really believe in what you do, you can't back down. And that's why you had Mr. Moriarty. He wasn't afraid. And then when they met the other school, and that teacher was an a-hole. And eventually Mr. Moriarty had to kick his ass because he thought he was a badass. So when you really have your art, what you really believe, it's going to be hard for anybody to overthrow you. So that's why I try to say this is real. The other stuff is the matrix. The other stuff is the BS. And that's why I said I do what the universe tells me to do. And other people may not like it, but it's going to be what it's going to be. And if you really let the universe lead, you'll be successful. It's when you become afraid. And that's why even when you read the Bible, God is always putting his people under test. He'll put you on a boat and start breaking the boat up in a shipwreck. The wind is going crazy. It's a storm. But you still your faith in God's got to be much, much stronger than your fear in the physical. And a lot of people don't get there, but that's because maybe they're wasting too much time on bubblegum astrology or bubblegum stuff. But everything, all this stuff is higher. It's your spirit, it's your soul, it's your place in the universe. Your real purpose. And I'm believe, like I said, where I work at, that's where my soulmate is right now. And according to everybody I've talked to, that's the chosen one. So that's significant. And ironically, on my natal chart, in my career sector, is Pisces. And Pisces is known for the feet. Now I'm at this career, and I got the feet situation going on. And it's also karmic because of the house that it's in. So that's why I say as above, so below. So there's nowhere else I can go with the charts. This will conclude. We do have a lot of sales going on. We also have the new services offered priceless. because we're getting ready for the 2019 year. You got to ask for that. There's sales going on. So information in the description box is information on the YouTube channel. You can get the services offered, priceless. But we do anything. Like a lot of people think we don't just do natal charts and we don't just do twin flames. We do everything. We do a lot of numerology, but we do everything. Cards, you name it. Now, some people like to get started. To do so, you need your date of birth, month, day, year. Write it out. Don't do no type of abbreviations. Because remember, 7/11/74 in America is totally different in Britain. So don't do that, because that's the information that goes into the system. And once it's put in, it's taken as the order is ongoing. So you can't go, oh no, I was wrong about no. So you have that information, because it only takes a second to get it. The time, if you don't have it, we get it from the Archangels. City, state, and country, if not the USA. And that's the main information we need for your natal chart. And you can get started. Whenever you need any questions, contacts, that's also in the description box, the contact information. So I do believe after this Gemini moon, I think that Gemini moon changed a lot of stuff. And I do believe for a lot of people, I think this is all going to get better. I think portals have opened in the universe that's going to make it easier for people to accept their astrological purpose. Not saying everything's going to be super easy, but it's going to be easier. And I think the more and more people stand strong for their astrological purpose, the more the world itself will have no choice but to back up and realize it ain't all about your job. Because I mean, before they had you worshiping your job, they had you loving your job more than your wife, all kind of crazy stuff. But even if you listen to astrologers like Michelle Knight, she said right now the universe is going to war. There's a war going on between family and home and career. Because it's just time for that big Satan or Saturn that rules the career sector. And even on the tarot card, the career is the devil card. Not to put the career down, because it's good to have a job and make money. But there's also a entire world that's not a matrix that you need to try to learn and be a part of. Because that's who you really are. You're from the stars. So it's been a pleasure. I had a great time. I don't know about you, but I had a great time. Learned a lot of information. Really built up by this read. God bless.